Hello and welcome to I Do in the Caribbean Facebook group. Happy Monday to you. I'm in freezing New York, so I really need a little sunshine today. I'm Sandra and I'm the admin for this Facebook group. I'm a two-time destination wedding bride. I had my first wedding, destination wedding for myself in 2015 in Jamaica with about 100 friends and family. And I did another vow renewal with my husband, just the two of us in Grenada. So we did them both at a Sandals resort. So I'm very familiar with the destination wedding process since I've gone through it myself twice. I specialize in helping couples plan their destination wedding in Mexico or the Caribbean in all-inclusive resort. And that's really what I specialize in. Not really resort that are not all-inclusive, because all-inclusive just for me, I think makes it easier when you're planning a destination wedding. The biggest question or the biggest concerns a lot of couple have when planning their destination wedding is just trying to figure out what destination they should pick, or even what resort would be more suitable for them to have their destination wedding. So this live is just going to talk about just things to consider, things to think about that could help you, start planning or get yourself started in planning your destination wedding. So I guess the first question you should ask yourself is, why do you want a destination wedding? And the reasons or answers most couple do, or I would say the bride do, is they want that dream destination to have their wedding. They want something different than what's available in the US. They want to go abroad. They want to either be by the beach, in a gazebo. They're looking for some kind of, I would say, semi fantasy, but just someplace nice that they can have their wedding that's different from just having it in a um, event hall. Most time they want warm weather. Because for me, I picked Jamaica because Jamaica is warm all year round, and I just want to be someplace that is pleasant for everyone to get to, and then the weather is warm. We don't need jackets and can really enjoy it ourselves. Another reason people do a destination wedding because they want to spend quality time with their friends and family, or make it a vacation and a wedding in one. Also, couple do like doing a destination wedding because they can have the wedding and the honeymoon also in one. So after you get married, you can take a couple of days off and do your honeymoon, and you don't have to really spend additional money to fly there because you're already in location. And another reason why I think destination weddings are very popular is because it's more intimate. You're in a private setting. Everyone is spending more time together to celebrate, meaning that normally a destination wedding will happen over 2 to 3 days. So people are going to be together for 2 to 3 days. So it's a really nice reason to have a destination wedding, especially now during COVID, and people are so far apart, that if everybody can get together in one place and just have like a couple of days of enjoyment, that's a great reason, I would say, to have a destination wedding. The biggest problem I would say couples face when they're planning a destination wedding is, number one, it's in a foreign destination, meaning that it's in a location that you've been to before, or you've never been there before. And it's not someplace you can easily go back and forth from, because it's in another country, especially say Jamaica. If you're in the US and your wedding is in Jamaica, it's costly to try to go back and forth to sort out the details of your wedding. Also, the biggest issue, a lot of brides like to control what's going on. Having a destination wedding, you're giving up a lot of control, meaning that you're putting it in the hands of the wedding planner that's at that resort to plan your wedding for you. So, the biggest thing or concerns a lot of couple have is that, will it be what I envision in my head? Not being able to be there. Another reason, not being able to, to see things in person is a really big a big problem for a lot of the couples. People like to touch, feel, see things, and make sure that this is what they want. So not being able to do that on a consistent basis is a big problem when you plan a destination wedding in a foreign country. And one of the other biggest issues is also language barrier. Not all the Caribbean is English speaking, and a lot of weddings happen in Mexico, I would say, or in Dominican Republic, when the language that they speak is Spanish. So there might be some translation lost in you trying to convey what you're looking for and their understanding. That could be a big problem with trying to do this wedding in a foreign destination. It's also time consuming, meaning that it takes a lot of time to do research to try to find the right destination, to try to find the right resort, trying to figure out which one is going to be best for you. It's going to take a lot of time to try to get that done. Responsiveness, I would say, is the responsiveness of the resort or the wedding department in you trying to get information to see if this is a good fit for you. It's taking longer and longer for people to get response from these different resorts because they get hundreds of inquiries a day, and it's very hard to decipher who's real or who's not real, and trying to answer that. The fact that the staff is limited, it takes longer for you to get a response. It can be very frustrating when couples are looking at certain resort and they can't get an answer if the wedding date's available, what location they're looking for, just trying to get the information they need. The good thing about this is, being a travel advisor myself, I have direct contact with these different resort, and most time they will answer or increase much faster than they would the general public because there's just so much and they're overwhelming. So, that's something that to think about when you're really planning, is like, how fast do you need to get that information, because it might not come as quickly as you expect. Also, the cost. I mean, it's a big problem, meaning that you don't know how much it's going to cost you to have this destination wedding. So really, we really have to think about what's included in that cost for having the wedding. And to me, that would include, first and foremost, your airfare, the cost of your accommodation, the wedding package. All depends on number of people that are coming to your wedding, because that will increase the cost of your wedding. So there's a lot of things that go into that cost, and you really need to come up with a realistic budget, is what I was saying, because people say destination weddings are cheaper. They can be cheaper, but if you're looking for that fantasy, that dream wedding with all the flowers and all the decor, it is going to cost you money to get that look. So just be prepared that you need to have a realistic budget. That's going to include all aspects of planning this wedding, from buying the things you need here, your dress, all the attire, all the the gift bags and stuff. That's a cost. Traveling to that destination, the wedding package, the cost of the extras that you need, videography, photography, decor, all that's got to be added together so you can get some kind of idea of what this wedding is going to cost. And it's going to be also based on the number of guests you intend to invite. The more people invite, the more it's going to cost you. So definitely, these are some of the biggest problems I've heard about couples when you're trying to plan their destination wedding, is trying to figure out, how am I going to do it? So the first thing I would say, how do you pick your destination? Well, number one, it definitely is a personal thing, because when I was getting married, Jamaica was just the easiest destination for me to pick. I'm from Jamaica. Most of my family live in Jamaica, and the family that I have in the US, they all go to Jamaica all the time. So to me, that was an easy, it was easy for me to pick the destination. Picking the resort was a little bit more challenging for me, but let's stick to destination. So you're picking a destination because either it calls to you, it's something you always dream of having a wedding, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in Jamaica, whether it's in St. Lucia or Dominican Republic. It's someplace that speaks to you, that you said, oh, I always want to get married there. So that could be a start. It could be someplace you've been before. You say, you know what, when I get married, I want to get married here. So there's a lot of reason why people choose a destination, but that destination must have something that's appealing to you for you to pick it, to say, this is where I want to have my wedding. But the first thing I would say, for the couple, it needs to fit that vision you have. What are you looking for? You want a beachy feeling, you want tropical, you want, you got to figure out what you want, and then try to find a destination that matches that vision. Also, when you're looking for a destination, look at the season in which you're getting married, and also the weather, because that can play a very big part in the cost of your wedding, number one, and then what to expect when you get there. I was in Jamaica for a wedding in August, and it rained, and we had to the day we had the wedding, it didn't rain. The day before, it rained. So those couple they had to like move their wedding indoors. So that can have a big effect on you, meaning that you're planning this wedding that you want an outdoor beach wedding, and then everything changes because the weather, it's raining, and you have to bring it inside. So that's something you really need to think about. And the season also, if you're getting married during a high season, it's going to cost more to have your destination wedding. So, these are things in the back of your head when you're thinking of the destination, you're thinking of the season, you're thinking of the weather. When is the rainy season? When is it really hot? You want to pick something that is going to be good for you and good for your guests to attend the wedding. You want to look at also flights availability and costs. From New York, where I am, to Mexico, there's number of flights available. The price can be really inexpensive. So that would be a good option for people in New York to say do a wedding in Mexico, just as it is in doing a wedding in Jamaica. We're in New York. It's a really easy hub to get to anywhere in the Caribbean. The thing is, depending on the time of year, it's going to cost more money. Like I am going to Jamaica in July, and I'm ready. The round trip ticket is about $700. So that is something you need to think about. The flights that's available to the destination you're going. So you're picking something that the costs could be reasonable, and also the availability of flights, direct flight to that place. Because if you're inviting guests to come to your wedding, you want to make sure you make it easier for them to be able to find available flights that's going there, and it's not too costly. Available resorts. The thing that I would think about is when you're picking a destination, you also have to think about what type of resort do you want. Do you want a family-friendly resort? Do you want an adult-only resort? That is going to decide if that destination is going to work for you. Like, for instance, you pick, say, St. Martin. There might not be a lot of all-inclusive family-friendly resort in St. Martin. So, or if you pick U.S. Virgin Island or Puerto Rico, there's not a lot of all-inclusive resort to pick from in those locations. And that can be have a deciding factor in picking a destination. If you're looking for a specific resort that's family-friendly or adult-only, you really have to really do a lot of research in the destination to see what's available. The other thing I would say think about is the wedding location. If you're looking for specific locations, you want to make sure that that destination will have a variety of the options to choose from. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense picking that destination. And also, I would say COVID protocol. COVID is not going to go away anytime soon. If you're looking to get married in next year, we're still going to be having COVID issues. So you have to think about what the COVID protocols are. Like right now, I'm going to St. Lucia next week. The protocol is, even though I'm fully vaccinated, I still have to do a COVID test to go to a COVID test, and I need a travel authorization form in order to get on the plane to go to St. Lucia. Coming back, even though I'm vaccinated, I still have to do a PCR test to 3 days before I come back. So those can be costly, and those are things that the guests will. You want to know, is it going to be easy for your guests to go to the wedding if they have to go through all this? If guests are going to Mexico or Dominican Republic, right now they do not require a PCR test, a negative COVID test, to go to the country. They don't even require an authorization form. I think what you need to fill out is a health form when you go there. So it's easier to do a wedding, I would say, in Mexico or Dominican Republic, because the COVID protocol or travel protocol are very relaxed. It's not as I would say high as in Jamaica or in other Caribbean countries, that some of them are not accepting people if you're not vaccinated. So that's something you really have to be thinking about when you pick a destination. Does it require that my guests be vaccinated? Because unvaccinated people are not welcome in certain countries. So definitely something to think about. And another big item, if you're looking to do a legal wedding, what are the marriage requirements in that country for getting married? For me, Mexico is the highest costly one, because you have to do a lot more things to have a legal wedding in Mexico. You have to do a blood test. You have to have your documents translated in Spanish. They have to be notarized. I mean, it's very costly to do a wedding in Mexico, and you need witnesses. If you don't have witnesses, you have to pay for witnesses. So there's a lot of requirements in married in Mexico and also in DR, because all your information are going to be in Spanish. The wedding will be performed in Spanish, and everything has to be translated back into English, and that's a cost of that. So think about where you're getting married. What are the requirements for getting married there? Is it worth choosing that destination. So really, you really have to do a lot of research and planning in order to, find that right destination that's good for you. Picking your resort. So once you find that destination, picking the resort is fairly easy. At least you know what destination you are. So the biggest thing is finding the resort that have the perfect wedding location for what you're looking for. If you're looking for a beach wedding, if you're looking for over the water chapel, if you're looking for a pier, if you're looking for a rooftop, which resort's gonna get you what you're looking for or the vision that you have for your wedding. Another important thing is while looking at the resort, you have to make sure that wedding date you want is available. I've seen a lot of I've made a lot of inquiries on wedding dates, and a lot of wedding dates are just already booked up for 2022. So if you're looking for anything in the twos, like 222, 22, 322, 22, any one of those numbers for next year, most of the resorts are already booked up for those dates. So that's something important instead of going down a rabbit hole and selecting a resort and then finding out that your wedding date is not available. That's the first question I would ask. Is my wedding date available before you start doing more research? Also, look at the wedding package that's offered at the resort, because that is going to be a big part of the cost of having your wedding, and not understanding what's included in the wedding package, what the cost of the additional stuff is going to be. Like, as I said, most wedding packages does not include decor, any kind of entertainment. So if you need a DJ, videography, photography, those are just not included in most wedding packages. So that's additional cost that you have to add to the package to figure out how much it's going to cost you. When I'm looking at resort, also always look at the distance from the airport to the resort, because that can make, sometimes the resort can be an hour away, can be 15 minutes away. That can impact, travel time back and forth from the resort. So always try to pick a resort that's within 20 to 40 minutes or so away from an airport. Also look at room availability and cost. Like for next year, when I try to get a group contract for a wedding, a lot of the rooms that the couples are looking for are already sold out. Like some resort have very limited swim out suites. If you're looking for swim out suites for a date, they might be already sold out. So, before you commit to anything, just make sure that there's enough room available at the resort for you to have your wedding, especially if you're bringing a big wedding party, 80 plus guests, 60 plus guests, you need like 30 rooms. So think about that when you're looking or picking the resort. As I said, the guest count is going to have a big impact. If it's just the two of you or it's a party of 10, it's easy to find wedding location or resort that can cater to the wedding that you're looking for. But when it gets to 40, 50, 60, you really have to try to pick the right resort, whether it's an adult only or a family friendly resort. You really have to do some research to make sure that you'll be able to accommodate all the guests in that resort. Also, when you're picking the resort, you want to look at experience. Like, what experience do you want your guests to have when they're at the resort? You want to make sure that if it's in Jamaica, then you want to feel like you're in Jamaica. You hear reggae music, you get to eat Jamaican food, you get to experience the culture. So, and the activities that's available at the resort. So you want to make sure that when you pick a resort, there is going to be some kind of guest experience when they're there, so everyone can enjoy themselves, and make sure that the entertainment is good. These are things, food is good, entertainment is good. These are things you really have to look at and do some research to make sure that resort is going to check all the boxes that you have when you're looking to pick a resort. These are things I think you need to consider that can help you when you're planning for your wedding and trying to pick a destination. I would say, if you've traveled before and you've stayed in certain resort, then look at that brand. Is that something that appeals to you? What do you like about it? That's someplace you can start when you're looking to try to find that resort. Look at reviews. People post reviews all the time when they have weddings, and something for you to read. And not all reviews, I would say, are created equal, because some people just post reviews negative if one small thing happens. So you really have to take some of those reviews with a grain of salt. They're not all truthful, or they might be a little bit over exaggerated. The good thing I would say is, for most of these resorts, and as I said, I only deal with all-inclusive resort, the experience of the wedding department. The wedding department, all their only function is to host wedding. And these resort that are all-inclusive, Some of them host 2 to 3 weddings a day. So that just gives me some kind of reassurance that they really know what they're doing. They're hosting at least sometimes 20 weddings a week. That is a lot of weddings. It's a lot of experience. So I would say trust that these wedding department, they know what they're doing. So that should hopefully help alleviate some of your stress that, oh my God, are they going to really know what I want? Once you can explain to them and they understand what your vision is, I think they can really execute a very good wedding for you. And I wouldn't be hung up not being there to direct them, because I think they know what they're doing. And the staff they work with, the vendors they work with have all been vetted. So you don't really, the good thing about using all inclusive, which is what I recommend, is that they're using the same vendors over and over again. So they know how they work. They know which ones are good. If they're not good, they take them off their list. So they're already doing all that vetting for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So to me, I would trust that the wedding department within the resort are very experienced. They know how to execute a wedding. So I wouldn't be as stressed about, will they be able to make my vision come through? As I said before, as long as you can explain to them what your vision is and they understand it, they can make it happen. Customer service. I would say when you're looking at resorts, you always want to try and look at customer service. When I'm working with a couple and I want to make sure that the dates are available and get a wedding package, I normally call the hotel directly, and I always get the front desk and I speak to them and I tell them, can I be transferred to the wedding department? They transfer me. I talk to the person in the wedding department. I see how they interact with me. I can tell if I'm going to get good customer service or not, and how responsive they are to my email and to my inquiry. So that's something very important, because if not responsive, then I'm going to have issues with my couple saying, oh my God, I sent them an email and they haven't responded to me in 3-4 days. And that is really what's happening now, because they're so overwhelmed. There's so many people having weddings next year. They can't get to every single email within that 24-hour, 48-hour time span. So it's going to take time to respond to your email, but at least they've gotten your email and they're working on it. So that's something I really look for. The other thing I would say, if you're really torn and not sure if the destination or if the resort will be your best fit, a site inspection, I highly recommend a site inspection, because having a site inspection, or most resort actually offer you a site inspection for you to go to the resort, meet with the wedding planner, taste the food, meet the vendors, see the location. They offer you, most resort offer you like a 2-night stay at a reduced rate. You go with your significant other. You stay there for 2 nights. You meet with the wedding department, and if you choose to have your wedding, if you confirm your wedding afterwards, that amount of money you pay towards your room can go towards your wedding. So that's a great incentive for you to actually go and visit the resort, because by doing that, if you decide on having your wedding there, they will give you a credit for the 2 nights that you paid for towards your wedding. So that's something good. So if you're really at that point that you really can't make a decision and you really need to be in the location, you can go and do a site inspection. As I said, responsiveness to me is a key item when I'm looking to pick a resort or work with a wedding department. I want to make sure they're going to be responsive to me, because I know my couple gets very aggravated or frustrated when they ask questions and there's no response over a couple of days. The other thing I would say definitely need to pay attention is looking at the wedding package and seeing what's included and what's not included. Not all wedding packages are created equal, and you really have to see what's included. Does this package include cocktail, ceremony, cocktail, reception? Do you have to spend additional money to have one of those things? What is the cost for additional guests? Because most time the package only includes 20 people. If I'm inviting 50 people, that extra 30 people, what is it costing me? Is it $80 a person? Is it $100 a person? The extra cost, the cost of videography, photographer, floral, decor, if I want that. How much is it going to cost me additionally to get those things? I personally, I think you can't have a wedding reception without a DJ. If you really want to spruce it up a little bit, you do some up lighting, and really to make it come alive, you have a lighted dance floor. Those are almost some musts you need to have when you're having your wedding. So there's a must-have things I think you can have or should have, but you need to know the cost of that so you can better plan for your destination wedding. So really, it involves a lot of research, and more research. It takes time to pick that perfect destination or that resort in order for you to have that wedding. It takes time, to pick it. So, and then the thing I've suggested again is that read reviews. A lot of brides or couples have their wedding and they do post reviews or pictures of their wedding so you can actually see real weddings. So, most of you go on the resort website, you're going to see weddings, but are they real or are they just photos they're taking of people in a wedding dress? You want to make sure, that you see real weddings, you read reviews to see what other couples who have had their weddings say about that particular resort. And I said, if you can't speak directly to the wedding department, because that is going to be one of your biggest challenges, speaking with them so that you can understand so they can understand what your vision is, and then they can hopefully execute that for your wedding. So speaking with them directly can give you a peace of mind that they know what you're talking about, and your wedding is just going to be perfect. Also, as I said, if you can do a site inspection, do a site inspection, because that is the key of doing a site inspection. When I picked Jamaica, which definitely was the right destination for me, I picked a resort sight unseen, and then I just happened to have a trip to Jamaica. I said, let me go see the location that I picked, and I was truly disappointed that it did not live up to the pictures that I saw on the website. And I just happened to have been staying at the Sandals Resort, and when I had dinner at Sandals Royal Caribbean, we had it on their private island, their little private island that had a Thai restaurant. And when we sat and ate there, we're like, this is like the perfect location. Just being there made me pick that location. And that was the best decision I made. And I only got to make that decision because I was there at the resort, experienced their customer service, ate the food, met with the staff. I felt comfortable that I picked the right location, and all my guests are still talking about it because it was just the best wedding that we had over that 3-day weekend. And the last thing I would say is hire a professional like myself, who this is what I do. I just do destination weddings. So if you're looking for help in planning your destination wedding, I can certainly help you with that. That was our wedding with 100 people there at Sandals Royal Caribbean. And this happened to be on their private island. They have their offshore island where they have the Thai restaurant. So that's actually the Thai restaurant in the back with these lanterns there. So, as I said, mine turned out to be one of the best days of my life. I still think about it. And the decision to actually visit that resort paid off, that I know that wasn't the right one for me, and ended up picking the right resort. So this is all I have for you. If you have any specific question, please send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Also, if you need help with planning your destination wedding, please schedule a free consultation with me, and we'll see if we are a good fit together. Until then, I will see you next week. Bye.